Hey guys, on this week's show, I have special guest and a good friend of mine, Elliott, on the show. We're going to be talking about various topics, including Tank performing at DC Pride, Kathy Griffin versus the Trump administration, Tiger Woods and that damn DUI he has gotten. Also, we're talking about friendships and why it is important to show up. This is the outline.
The outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the outline. With Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. With Kevin Dwayne.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's the outline with Kevin Dwayne. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. This is episode 46. Remember, you can listen to this podcast at kevindwayne.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play Music. Make sure you're subscribing, downloading to your device, sharing with your friends, leaving comments. I appreciate all of that stuff. You guys have been so loyal to me, and it's amazing. Well, this week, I have recruited a special guest. Recruited. He didn't even know he was going to be on the show today. I was like, hey, you want to be spontaneous? And then we started recording. So it's my friend. I want to let him introduce himself really quickly.
Hey everybody, I'm Elliott. That's all.
It's Elliott. That's all. So Elliott's here on the show with me, and he's just gonna go through the topics, and we're gonna have a good time. He's a good friend of mine. I actually mentioned him.
Did you?
Yes, a few times. Mm-hmm. I bet you last week because it was your birthday. Oh. So I talked about the big weekend of
HBD to me.
Yes, happy birthday. Yeah, so we had. I talked about renting the home, how amazing it was, and just meeting all the great people. And I've been really big on just meeting dope people, and I was saying that weekend was filled with a lot of good energy.
Thank you.
Everybody was equally yoked, and
you know what? I don't take pride in a lot of things, but I take pride in my friends.
Yes, take pride in your friends. You know that works, and it's important. And it was a really good energy. So, I've been mentioning having him on the show for a while now, and he's always like, "Oh, when's that gonna happen?" Or, "Oh, this could have been an opportunity." So, see, now here we are.
Here we are.
It's all about energy. You know, you got to make sure it's right.
Sips, drink.
Sips, drink. Yes, we do have our cocktails here because that's how you get people comfortable into talking about things. So we're gonna jump into that. So, how's your week going so far?
It's good so far. Work is good. I had a really super productive day today.
Come through productive.
So I'm happy.
Yeah. I had a productive day today as well, as far as work. And then, so since everybody's been on my prep journey, I've talked about it on the show too. Mm-hmm. So today was my first follow-up after a month of being on it.
Okay.
Another HIV test. And they did a it's called a CMP. So they're checking out my functions.
Okay.
And so I have to do that every time I go. But what it is you go every 3 months, but for the first month you have to go back. So I went back, They drew blood. I'm just like, at this point I'm used to it. Because I've never been squeamish about needles anyway.
They probably have so much of your blood though.
They have so much of my blood. I told everyone that I've been tested now 7 times.
Wow.
Since I started the process. And every time I go, they're like, all right, we're going to do another. But they do the Insta one, though. Yeah. So it's just like literally 2 minutes and you have your one little bubble. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then they drew blood for CMP or whatever. So I went back. They're like, everything's good. And so now I'll get another 2-month prescription, and then I'll go back like the end of July. But
right, and then it's 3 months.
Yeah, it's every 3 months. Right? But it's just like, my God, I told them, I said, I've never been this much in the know ever. I'm used to going every 6 months.
Right.
And just been, now I'm just like, listen. Like somebody asked me, like, do you know your status? Oh, I have it from this week. I have it from this week. I have this card.
Education is key, though.
It's key. It's key. So I went there today, and it was a good first month. Not too many side effects. And I know I told you, like, the first couple of days, I had like a little itching situation where I was like, what the fuck is this?
I don't remember
it was at Charles' birthday. And it was weird. It was like a little hive situation, but it went away after like 2 days, and I've been fine ever since. So my whole thing is at ease. All my vitals were good, because that's been my main thing. It's been like making sure, we talked about that, making sure like organ function is all good. They're like, oh no, you're still good. You're good. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
And I've been very faithful to taking it every day. And I have a little app called Round, which is actually amazing. It gives you a 2-hour range every day, and it bugs the fuck out of you until you're like, oh, I took it. So it's great. So we're good. So I did that today. I came home, finished up my work day, and then, hit you up and was like, hey, what are you doing? Right. So Elliott and I, and then also Raven's someone else who will probably be on the show later. We have our champagne Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday.
And or
people have schedules.
We have schedules, and we get together and we just catch up on the week, and it just breaks up the week, because who wants to go through a whole week of just feeling like just work? It's just one of those days you're like, okay, we can just turn it up real quick, talk about what's going on, catch up. But of course, I haven't seen Elliott or Raven in like a week and a half. And
he was gonna die, y'all.
I was gonna die. I was like, listen, what's happening? Like, I'm just here. Like, I told Elliott, I have no problem chilling alone. I'm used to that. But when you meet people, you're like, hey, we have a schedule? Because I told him today, I was like, what are you doing tonight? He's like, oh, I may have plans. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't, I want to hang out and get back to normal. Because I'm like, this is normal.
Right.
You guys have been gone. It needs to be done. So
I'm leaving town again.
He's leaving town again. He prepared me though. He's like, okay, I'm gonna be gone again for like but it's cool. It's cool. So yeah, so weeks are going well, and it's a quick week because of the holiday. So yeah, that's good. So let's hop into some of these topics and we'll get this going. So first thing, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but the R&B singer Tank performed at DC Pride. Did you see anything about that?
I saw just like a couple of little headlines.
Headlines.
Nothing too serious.
It was funny. Okay, so I saw it as it was happening because, Instagram is real. So people were like, oh, damn, Tank up here performing with his shirt off. Tank is fine. So I'm here for it. I've been a fan of Tank. But I thought to myself, I was like, this is going to be some shit. I was like, It always is.
Every time somebody performs, there's a problem.
Every time it's a man, though.
Right.
Because, Brandy, Monica, they stay. K. Michelle, I swear.
And who wants to see her?
Listen, but like they stay at Pride events, and it's no problem. But then you have this straight man who oozes sexuality, or sensuality rather, and I was like, this is gonna be some shit. Now I thought to myself, that's pretty admirable. Like, I was like, that's dope. And I've always known Tank to be very secure because of things he says in his interviews. Right. He talks about liking, like, getting his ass ate by his girls or whatever. And I
didn't know that.
He's like, yeah, if she wants to. Listen, but he's like married with kids. Like, I'm like, listen, I've always respected the fact that he was comfortable in his own sexuality to just be like, fuck y'all in this group thing. Yeah. And so him performing made me want to go out and be like, you know what? That's dope that you would do that because you know what's coming next. I'm sure he was fully prepared. I mean, you're in this audience with your shirt off, and he gave a full performance. He didn't do like, oh, I'm going to be in this cloth. I'm gonna come in here with a full robe,
a loincloth, maybe
a loincloth. No, he took his shirt. I've seen Tank in regular concerts. He did the full show, shirt off. Music was the same, and it just was what it was. There's actually this clip where a guy kicked his leg in the air, and you see this Jordan. Up towards his chest, like just. It is the funniest shit ever. So now it's a mood meme. People put mood, of course, because that's naturally what happens.
Right.
So I knew it would be a thing, and it was. So 2 days later, now some of his fans are like, "Oh, how do you perform for these gays?" and that whole thing.
You know what? I think that it's totally okay for people to have their things, have their beliefs, their I don't want to say morals because I don't think it's immoral, but. Whatever they have going on in terms of their beliefs. However, at the end of the day, it's just a check.
Yeah.
You got paid your fee. Go do the job that you've been hired to do and move on. It doesn't, whether you're trying to make a statement or not, I just don't think that it has to be construed into making a statement or having a certain belief or like whatever. Like, I don't care how he feels about homosexual people, quite honestly. I don't really care how anybody feels about it.
Right.
But he got hired for a job. He did his job. I appreciate him for doing it well, and I hope he got paid in full.
I
And
agree.
that's it at the end of the day for me. I'm a businessman.
Yes.
Do your job, get paid, go home. Done.
Thank you.
Who gives a shit about anything else?
Exactly. And like why and why does everything have to be I feel like we are far too concerned with the sexuality of others. It's like, why do we care so much
Why
about
do you
what other
care?
people are doing? If I'm not fucking you, why am I so concerned about it?
Right.
And I mean, anything, he earned some new fans because people were like, oh, well, shit, where can I find a Tank CD? Let me go ahead and get this.
I just had a whole conversation about Tank on our drive up to Nashville this weekend. And I was saying how when he first came out, I really wasn't a fan, but not because of him as a person, but because of his music. And, you know, y'all bash me however you want to.
Oh, no, you're good.
But now I am.
Okay.
But at first, when he first came out, I was like, who is this?
Well, he was when he first came out, he had this whole thug kind of look.
Yeah, it just wasn't doing it for me.
I think it was just the image that they were giving him.
Yeah.
Because he's actually like a really like charismatic dude. Like you look at interviews and stuff. I think like most artists, you come out, this is the look we want to have for you. Because he was muscle bound. So like, oh, let's throw a do-rag on you. And let's have you have the big Aniche, Miosha, Pele Pale, what?
I'm
Fubu.
sticking my tongue down my throat.
Yeah, like he's cringing right now. you gotta have the, you know, the Sean John velour suit look. Now maybe I deserve was a jam though. I remember that being like the song. Like, that was just the song. But over time he got to himself and did it. But he vocally he's awesome. I think he can sing his ass off. I think he gave Jamie Foxx his style though, and that's why he didn't do as well. Because I remember when Jamie Foxx came out with the Unpredictable album. Yeah, that was all Tank.
You know what? You just reminded me. Where is Jamie Foxx?
He's on that show, Shazam.
Shazam
has a show now.
I saw that show.
Yes.
He's the host?
Yes, he's the host.
Okay, that's right. But what was he doing before that? Because that's brand new. Where's he been?
I don't know. Oh, he was in a... Oh, damn. He's been reduced to commercials. He was on the Verizon commercial.
He was on the Verizon commercial.
He's been...
Right. I mean, it just made me think. I'm like, I haven't seen Jamie Foxx in so long.
Yeah. Our stars are being reduced to, you know, it's the natural progression. You do commercials and you do game shows.
That these young men are on these commercials now. The M&Ms and the Sprite and shit. Yeah. Lil Yachty.
Yes.
Whomever.
Yes, or whomever.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert.
I don't understand the Vert part.
Me neither. He's interesting though with his outfit choices and
they all are though. I'm
are.
actually kind of I'm not even low key. I'm high key into them. Yeah. But it's interesting to see the new generation. Yeah, you know,
because they kind of don't give a fuck either, and I kind of like it.
I'm into it,
especially a little Uzi Vert, because he wears all these soft fabrics. I'm like, I'm here for it though, like Chanel or and like that dance move he does cracks me up. He does his little dance, his little jig, cracks me up every time. Jig? It's a little jig. Oh man, and it's super cute, but it's for a lack of a better word, it's cunt. It's very cunt.
It's throws head back in silent laughter.
Because you know exactly what I mean. It's just a very cunt dance move. But I'm like, I'm here for this. Why you talking about fucking bitches and hoes? But you doing this cunt ass Vogue move.
You know what? Get into it.
And Lil Yachty, I actually kind of like too. He has a song right now. It was on the Get Down soundtrack. I didn't know that till I watched second season of Get Down or second.
What do you think?
half.
They got canceled, right?
Yeah, well, it's because Baz Luhrmann backed out. He was like, "Yeah, I'd rather do movies." So that's why they actually ended it in a way that it's like, okay, it's done. Right. It was like Cliff Notes. The last episode was like, okay, so this happened. All right, cue.
Wow. I never watched it, but I mean, I probably would have been convinced to watch it if it continued. But now that it's canceled, I'm over it. Like, I have no interest in it.
I mean, it's just one season. You'll get through it in 2 days. Right. Yeah, but it was decent. But they have this song on there. It's I can't think of the DJ because there's so many DJs, but I like him a lot. But it's a song with him, Grace, and Lil Yachty. But I was like, I kind of like Lil Yachty. Like, I've heard enough of his music, or I've got enough of his sound to be like, okay, I don't hate you. Yeah. 6 months ago, I didn't know none of these niggas. I was like, I don't know any of these people. Okay. There was a meme that had all of their pictures up there, and they were like, name 2 of these artists. I'm like, I got nothing. I got nothing. Now I'm like, oh, that's Lil Yachty. That's Lil Uzi Vert. That's 21 Savage with the cross. I'm like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. I'm literally becoming my aunties and parents. Like when we were growing up, like we had our TLCs and our who's this little girl?
Right.
Who are these people talking about
Right.
sex? That's about my parents.
What's a Beyonce?
Oh, right. I remember my parents like, these little young kids talking about love. What the fuck they know about love? They don't know about no love. They 13. I was like, okay, like,
Right.
why you hating? And here I am looking at these people like, how old are you?
Exactly.
I always think they're like Ariana Grande.
And then they come from the suburbs.
Right.
You know, and what I appreciate about them, especially the ones that are coming out of Metro Atlanta, is the fact that the ones these days, they're actually repping their suburb.
Yeah.
And they're not repping Atlanta. It's like, of course you have the Atlanta connection, but like, you know, like they got 85 North on their shit. Like,
Migos. Migos is
from
Lawrenceville. Yep.
Right, and I appreciate the fact that they rep that because that's actually where they're from.
Yeah,
And they grew up in a nice subdivision in Lawrenceville.
Yachty's from Mapleton.
I know. I saw it on Noisy, I think.
Yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's dope. And he also doesn't do drugs or drink. And I
Right.
thought that was dope too.
Right.
Like he's like, no, I don't drink or
And
do
he
that.
also shouldn't because he's like 19 years old.
Right, but I think it's a dope ass image because
Of course.
we're just so quick to vilify rappers, and so it's nice to be like, oh yeah, no, I don't do any of
And
that.
he wears braids and beads.
He has braids, beads, shells, and things.
Like, come on now.
I mean,
Like, I haven't seen a bead since I was in elementary school.
listen, it's very interesting. I also have you seen his album cover in the movie theater?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah,
You have
he's-
two men kissing in the corner. I was like,
He is an interesting person.
he is. I kind of rock with it. I don't really know. I can't say how.
I haven't decided how I feel about these chains that they're wearing now because they're like all wearing these short chains that are almost chokers.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like big rapper chains, but like short as fuck, like
Yeah.
right around their neck. And I'm like, I can't decide if I'm into that or not.
Like, is this a thing again? Because you know, it was
Like,
a
it's, I
thing
mean, it's clearly a
back
fad.
97 and like 2000. It was the chokers.
Right. Britney Spears did that shit.
Oh yeah. So is it coming back? Because I don't
Well,
need it.
chokers are back, but for black rappers to be wearing like thick ass gold chains around their neck, like that's brand new.
Yeah.
Like no one's
much
ever
so.
done that
A
before.
lot of these outfits actually are brand new. You're
They
like, oh,
are,
we're
yeah.
doing this. Like I said, little
I
right.
heard the term the other day, fashion rapper.
Fashion rapper.
Yeah, and I was like, is that a category now? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah. So now we have our fashion. You know what? Actually, I listened to the Casey Crew, which is DJ Envy from Breakfast.
Yeah.
He and his wife have a podcast.
Right.
It's actually amazing. He actually referred to fashion rappers. And I
Right.
was like,
They're these new rappers who are like super into fashion, just like a lot of basketball players that you
Right.
see are like super into fashion, but like super about just like rapping and being niggas too.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting. I'm like, is there a whole new genre?
Right. I feel like that was kind of like Kanye 15 years ago.
Kanye, exactly.
When he came, remember, it was like he kind of ushered in
Exactly.
that, okay, I'm not a gangster rapper. I am a rapper, but I'm talking about Gucci, Fendi, Louis.
Exactly.
And
Can
now,
I say, I was watching, my beloved Kardashians the other day.
yes.
And it was the episode that where Kanye had his fashion show at the last New York Fashion Week, I guess last year's or whatever. And I was a little bit miffed because I feel like he stole the stage cube, the video cube situation from Beyonce from her album, because his fashion show, he was at New York Fashion Week. He literally had a stage with a 4-sided cube and was literally showing all of the looks on the cube.
Oh, you're
On
like,
every
this
side of the cube, and it
formation.
was rotating, and it was very formation-esque. And
Love
I was
that
like,
show.
did he like lease this for Beyonce?
It's a great concept.
It's a great concept, but I'm like, but I was just a little annoyed because I'm a huge Kanye fan, like, and I know people hate him sometimes, but I've always
I
been
think
a
it's
fan.
bittersweet. I don't think anyone really
Yeah.
hates him.
Right.
It's just bittersweet. It's like, what you doing today, Kanye?
And I was just a little miffed because I feel like he's a very creative individual, and I feel like that cube had been done.
Yeah.
And it had been done in such a major way with a star like Beyonce. I was like, well, this has been done like in front of everybody. Like, why would you choose to do this same thing?
I agree.
It was just a little bit annoying to me.
I agree with you. And I think because the cube was so amazing, I think what I appreciated about that from the Beyonce show. I didn't see what you're talking about, but the Beyonce show is just that it made it so no matter wherever you sat, you could see the show and not squint. Like seeing a life-size Beyonce was just too much for me. I literally wanted to pass, and I had good seats, and I was just like, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful!" You have this one, 100-foot woman. You're like, "Oh my God, she's right there."
I feel like I had really good Instagram photos from that concert.
Me too.
From the Atlanta show, I did not get good pictures in Chicago. No, not at all. Because by the time the show started, it had stopped raining, but I just wasn't into taking pictures that time. Yeah. Because it had been raining the whole time. We were in ponchos. Like, I didn't know if it was going to start raining again. And then, like, our seats weren't as good as the seats I had in Atlanta, so I just didn't even bother.
Right. And it was your second time seeing it during that time?
Chicago was first. Atlanta was second.
Okay. So you got to really kind of get into it.
Yeah, I saw the second Atlanta show, like the September one.
Okay.
Or whatever that date was.
That was such a good show. Like, I really want to go back and see it all over.
Every time I hear a song from the album, I'm like, damn, I want to see that show again.
Right. And it's funny because,
like, why she won't give us a DVD.
Right. Or something. Like, whatever they doing these kids.
I don't know.
Digital title, whatever.
Something.
I'm going to get it.
Just give me some visuals.
But even then, I'm also afraid that whenever we get it, I hope we get it, it's still not going to be the same.
It's not.
Because there's nothing like being there.
You're going to have to buy a 95-inch curved 5K television with 3D glasses.
Right.
And virtual reality.
Right.
You're going to have to get a VR headset.
Yep.
It's going to be a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Because being there, there's nothing like being at a show. It's the energy of the audience. It's just like you all know you're there for the same reason. It's a lot like church, you know? You're all there for the same reason. And you're all fellowshipping around B. And it was amazing.
I don't really like sounding like a stan, but I mean, that bitch is pretty amazing.
It was, amazing. Like, I remember standing there, and I've been to other Beyonce shows. I've been to Destiny Child shows, but it wasn't until Formation that I was like, okay, I'm a fanatic right now. Yeah. When she came out on that stage during the intro, I couldn't compose myself, and just the energy, I was like, oh shit, she's reached this status for me where I'm just like freaking the hell out that this person is literally right there in the same building as me. We're breathing the same air and shit. Right. And I was just like, okay, B. And it was overwhelming. Yeah. Of all the shows I've been to, that was the first time I was like, God damn it. Like, this is history. Yeah. This is literally history. I'm literally going to be telling people whatever. Yeah,
I saw her win.
I was at Formation.
Right.
Look at my
performing in Las Vegas like Patti LaBelle in 20 years, and we're gonna be saying we saw her win.
Listen, and I'm gonna be in Las Vegas too. Like, look at this pin I got from Formation. It says Slay on Say.
With your hat with all your pins all over it.
Yes, don't let me get a jacket. Don't let me get a jacket. And I'm gonna wear it everywhere. I'm gonna wear it everywhere. You're gonna tell me that.
Hilarious.
But yeah, so we got so far away from Tang. But yeah, all I have to say is people need to grow up. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, sexuality is not the biggest thing in the world. And I say this over and over again. Why is sexuality still a scandal? Like, why is it even a thing?
I think people are bored. They would have to be.
They have to be. We know people
because I don't care because I'm not bored.
Right. Ain't that it? I don't. You need a shirt that says that. I don't care because I'm not bored. Ain't that it though?
That is it.
I don't care because I'm not bored.
I'll give you a tagline.
Listen, Elliott be knowing. Elliott be knowing. Yeah. So yeah, I respect Tank for doing it, and like you said, at the end of the day, it's a check. So there's that too.
Get your money.
Get your money. Why would you turn down that $1? First of all, gay men have some of the highest disposable income ever. Because we ain't got kids and shit. So there's that. Hello. So why are you even turning your back on that any goddamn way? Right. There's people out now buying 6 of his CDs right now. Right. Just like, I'm just going to get the stack since I'm here. And
they weren't fans and now they are fans.
Exactly. Because it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, it's representation. You saw us. Mm-hmm. You didn't water down yourself for us. Mm-hmm. You didn't act funny. You came, you performed, you gave your actual show. Yeah. And you get respect for that. And we'll end with that one. Okay, so next thing of things that, people are going in about. You see the whole thing about Kathy Griffin? No. Oh, so you're familiar.
Educate me.
Okay, so Kathy Griffin, the comedian, she has this clip. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's for. I didn't dig that deep, but all I know is she had a fake head of Donald Trump.
Of course she did.
Basically, she beheaded him. It was a bloody face.
She's pretty inappropriate.
But
she's an Amy Schumer. She's like a little bit of a Chelsea Handler.
Yeah.
She's just like generally inappropriate.
Right. So there's been all
And
this.
her mom's a drunk, and I love it.
Me too. With that wine. Yes,
Tip it.
God. Tip it. So there was all this heat about it and stuff like that. Well, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I saw today she got fired from CNN and she can't do New Year's Eve anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so they
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, when you have jobs for a network like CNN, then you have to be like a certain level of PC.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kathy's gonna be Kathy.
Kathy's going to be Kathy.
You know what?
That's why y'all hired her.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was just about to say. That's why she got hired.
Mm-hmm.
And her and Anderson, like, they hate and love each other, and it's real cute. But you know, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because you're a reputable news network, and you can't like promote something like that, and it's very difficult for you to promote someone who will do something like that.
Right.
And so, like, I look at things from both sides really easily, and I'm also a super business-minded, PC-minded person.
Right.
And I totally understand why you would have to fire someone who did something like that.
Right. And I think the best thing that I've noticed and I agree with is like, okay, what she did was in fact wrong, regardless of how you feel about Trump.
At the
stuff
end
like
of the
that.
day,
At the end of
it's the president of the United States.
Yeah,
and you have to
still
like show a certain amount of respect, like as difficult as it is to do.
Yes.
I don't want people out there thinking that.
Oh
I'm a
yeah,
fan.
no, we're not.
I'm not a fan.
We're not
But
at all.
At the end of the day, there's a certain amount of respect that the person who is the leader of our country and the
Yeah.
free world, unfortunately, we have to respect him a certain amount.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, at least on the outside. And then on top of that, we also recognize that there's also a double standard.
Of course.
Because, you know, when Obama was in office, there were tons of beheadings and him hanging.
course.
Ted Nugent asked for his killing. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a double standard there, but we
Yeah.
know that because of racism and everything else.
Right.
And so there's a double standard, but at the same time, it goes into that whole when they go low, we go high. We can't fight fire with fire, and that sucks. And it is, but at the end of the day, it's like we have to be even with it. And it's like, it's easy to be petty and be like, no, fuck that. Because a lot of us don't respect him. A lot of us don't even call him that
45.
word that starts with a P. We don't even say
45
that.
is his
45, right. And so I totally get it. And I was secretly like, yeah, girl, whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, I do, like you said, you gotta be neutral in some situations. And
Yeah.
so it's one of those things
When
where
you're in a position like that, you kind of don't have a choice. And like, you can take a stand. Like, certain publications and news outlets have the wiggle room to take a stand. Like, I've noticed and absolutely fucking loved GQ magazine because GQ throws the heaviest shade.
with fashion.
I love it so much. Like, I feel like every other day. Do you know that they never had a political correspondent before, and they hired one. It was during the election. They finally actually hired a like full-time political correspondent or writer, or I don't know exactly what their title is, but they had never spoken on politics before. But when this election came up, they actually hired their first person ever to talk on politics, and whatever their name is, throws the absolute best shade I have ever read in my life. Like, every other day, I get on my phone and I see a new article from GQ magazine, like talking some shit about Trump, and the headline is always so clever.
It's so good.
Like, whoever this person is deserves accolades because their writing is so entertaining and it's so well done and it's so smart. Like, I can't even deal. Like, I feel embarrassed. I don't even know their name. I feel like I'm gonna look it up now.
Well, yeah, go ahead and look it up. No, I feel
Because they need a plug.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, right now, though, no matter how much we hate the political climate, people are their most creative right now. Like, I
They
love
are.
most publications.
Absolutely.
Like Very Smart Brothers are winning right now. Like, people are so creative. Like, Lovey, there's all these people who are just, like, coming up with these
Yeah.
crazy, like, write-ups that are just amazing. So that's one thing I can say that has been the positive out of all of this. But we do have the people who are getting hit by it because at the end of the day, he is that P word that
Right.
that we're avoid using. He is
Unfortunately.
that right now. And so there are going to be repercussions because
Right.
we got to be even on our sides. And it sucks so fucking much because
does.
so many of us agree, but we have to be, we have to be even on both sides. But it's definitely a double standard, and we know that. And we can call out double standards all we want, but it doesn't change anything, and that's what sucks about it.
The first headline that I saw from 3 hours ago on GQ says Ted Cruz thinks he's funny now. and it says, "Someone cut his mic, please." Like, that's the headline from GQ, and it makes me so happy.
Right. And it's funny that a fashion magazine.
A fashion magazine.
But you see that is it Teen Vogue that has Melissa Harris Perry now? And so they have all these things where they're calling out racism and everything else. Like,
Really?
I'm telling you, everybody has an opinion now. Like,
I love
even
it.
in fashion, they're like, listen, we're gonna talk about some shit right now. It's not just gonna be about posing and these fabrics. Let's talk about what's actually going on, and I'm here for it.
The other headline, so I'm looking at similar stories, and it says, Kathy Griffin kicked the right's phony outrage machine into high gear.
Yeah.
Call them out.
Call them out. And that's exactly what it is.
I'm so
they did the
into it.
same thing to
Jay Willis.
Obama. Jay Willis is the person?
Jay Willis.
Jay
is the
Willis.
writer.
Jay Willis. So check out
Yes.
Jay Willis at GQ. Apparently he has
He's
great
amazing.
write-ups. But yeah, no, like when Obama's office, we seen so many people for Halloween hanging his head and doing all this shit. So
Yeah.
it's a double standard.
He
It's
writes
what
about
it is.
sports and the Bachelorette, too. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Because no one cares about either of them. Well,
Right.
yeah, sports maybe, but
Right.
Bachelorette, I have not. Have you watched Bachelorette at all?
I've never watched Bachelorette.
Well, you know, this season's a black girl.
You know what? I heard an interview with her recently on something, just yesterday. They had her on something. I don't remember what now. It might have been the radio. I don't remember. But I heard her on something, and they were asking her. Oh, it was on the reel.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Come
it
on,
was
Reel.
in the background while I was working.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I watch it sometimes. I'm not shading it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I wasn't really watching it, but that's what it just came back to me.
Oh, okay, so she's on the reel. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they're trying something different with that, but I hear they have a bunch of problematic ass statements.
I'm sure.
Of course, because
Yeah, always does.
always does, especially on shows like that. But
Especially.
whatever. Well, shout out to Kathy. I hope you can rebound and find something else that has a long term check. Because I mean, that CNN New Year's Eve check is long. You
I'm
can work
sure
that
it
till you
is.
die.
I'm sure it is.
They
You
literally-
know what? Listen, go to your mama's house, tip it, talk about it one time, and move on.
And move on. That's all you can do. And then you always have stand up. She actually probably has more supporters now than ever though, because it's like
Yeah, probably. And I mean, it's not like she was like somebody without a career. Like
Exactly.
Kathy Griffin's been in the game for a long
a
time.
long time.
Yeah.
And so she can still do her stand up and release
Right.
12 specials on Bravo.
Yeah, it'll be
like she was
fine.
doing before. So shout out. And then we spoke about this earlier. So Tiger Woods. What did you tell me?
I just don't know why anybody gives a shit.
I agree with you. I agree.
Like, literally don't understand why anyone cares. I feel like for someone, like for an athlete, and I'm using the term athlete loosely because he plays golf,
Oh damn.
I don't understand why he's relevant, why anyone cares. Like, he's had so much drama in his life already. Like, I feel like
In the last decade.
I feel like his drama level is saturated. Like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I agree. I think, and what I've noticed from just what I've seen online, it's just like it's like 25-year-old shade. Like, people are still upset about him saying he was Caucasian from years ago, and I'm like, you guys are still mad about this?
Are you?
It's not like, well,
so
you
stupid.
you was black when you was arrested, and it's just like, but people harbor that shit. I was like, damn, you could say something 25 years ago. And people will still be like, oh, I guess she was this. But here's the thing, though. I think it's deeper than that. You know, he actually blew zeros in the blood. Rather, he was arrested for a DUI.
Right, yeah.
He
I
actually
heard that
blew
it
zeros.
Was, he alleges that it was a bad mix of prescription drugs
Okay.
that were legit. That's the allegation, like from him. That's his
Okay.
explanation. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yes,
You know,
allegedly. Yes, Wendy.
Wendy Williams. Allegedly. I mean, none of us know.
No one knows,
None
yeah.
of us know what's true or not, but I'm just saying that's what they're saying he said.
Yeah. I think ultimately, of all of this, like I said, I don't really give a fuck. I'm like, whatever. I don't care that
I
much.
literally care like negative register of caring.
But what I am tired of seeing, though, I'm so sick of seeing so many celebrities go through this cycle of being on top and
Yep.
then
Being
falling
on
from
bottom.
grace. Like,
Yep.
it's so tiring. It's like it's literally a script.
Right. Can no one just do it right?
It's literally like, listen, Beyonce, listen, you've been perfect thus far. Don't fuck this shit up. Don't
Right.
just come up with this random drug that you be like, oh yeah, I've been
Right.
taking this forever. What?
But you know what? I feel like, and I mean, unless they just haven't reached their time yet, it's the ones that keep to their fucking selves.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are successful at life and
I
like
agree.
don't have to fall from grace. You know, Lindsay Lohan and who's that other one? Miley Cyrus. You know, they live
Always
their
out.
life in front of everybody and do everything in front of everybody, and they fluctuate and go up and down and left and right. But it's people, and you know, unfortunately, I don't
Turner,
like
Cher.
to generalize or to even like segregate this issue like based on race or whatever. But there's so many like black celebrities who do such a good job of just keeping to themselves and just keeping their business to themselves and not living their life in front of every fucking camera, and they're good.
Yeah. I agree.
They're good.
I agree.
You know, Denzel. Since when has Denzel had drama?
Exactly. You're right.
Because he lives his life at home wherever he lives. I have no idea where he lives.
Right.
You know, he lives his life at home, and he's a huge star. He makes a bajillion dollars.
True.
And we don't know anything about him, and that's great.
No, that's
Good for him.
That's
Like,
a
I'm
great
good,
example.
Like, that's fantastic.
Great example. I mean, yeah, and even like Will Smith, no major scandals.
Yeah, like people talk about the Smith family, but it's like
it's nothing-
there's no scandal.
there's
It's
no
just their kids are a little
scandal.
weird. That's all.
But hey, but they're
And they're swingers or something.
They're
but like,
they're
whatever.
free black people.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think about Diana Ross. I think about Gladys Knight, Aretha, Patty. Like it's like kind of like separate.
They just go home.
right.
And
Tina
all
Turner.
these other people,
Tina Turner moved to the country. She's like, I'm not going to be in
Right.
America anymore.
and all these other people, they just insist on, you know, going to whatever the newest, trendiest restaurant is every fucking weekend and getting in front of every camera that they can. And it's like, that's what's ruining your life.
Right, because Applebee's is always available.
Listen. And don't no paparazzi be at Applebee's.
Right, but they are going to be at Mr. Chow. They are going to
They're
be
always going to be at Mr. Chow. Them Braxtons are always at Mr. Chow.
right. So it's like,
And I mean, listen, Atlanta's going to get paparazzi in a minute. They're going to be down to the Uncle Julio's.
yeah, right.
The Braxtons are always at Uncle Julio's.
on Peachtree Road.
Right. In Buckhead.
I'm like, y'all
It's at
always
Peachtree and 26th Street.
And, they're not even, and Uncle Julio's isn't even that damn good. They must have a good license to record there.
Yeah.
Because I've had that. I was like, there's so many other places that you
But I
could
mean,
be.
you know, everybody has their little favorite place.
Yeah. I just
Like
don't
me and my
believe that's
family, like
it.
we eat at Longhorn a lot, and
I
like,
love
mean,
Longhorn.
Longhorn is fantastic, but it's still just a regular chain restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing fancy.
Fair enough.
But it's like, but that's our little family place. Like we always go to Longhorn or whatever. So you know, I mean, of course, you know me. You know, I ain't about no chains.
Listen.
But that's our little family place, and we love it.
And I love Longhorn.
Yeah.
Listen, I kind of want Longhorn. I haven't been in like over a year
See?
now.
I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Shit, now we go to Longhorn. Where's there a local? There's no Longhorns over here.
I don't know this side of town.
You sure don't. Whatever. Yup. Whatever. Whatever. So yeah. I just ultimately I'm tired of seeing. Number one, I'm tired of seeing celebrities go through this, but I'm also tired of how lukewarm fan bases are.
Yeah.
It's like we go from loving someone to literally hating them, but
Right.
you're the same people who were supporting them. You know,
Right.
anytime you think of golf, you still call Tiger the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it sucks that on both ends that this is
Yeah.
going on. But at the end of the day, let the man do whatever the hell he's doing, and just it is what it
Right.
is. He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
I mean that
And
hairline
I mean,
is gone, child.
listen, and also, like, I mean, if it was a mistake, it was a mistake. But also, like, don't drive under the influence.
There's
bro.
that.
There's also that, because he didn't get pulled over for no reason.
That's true.
You know, he was probably swerving or something. Like, you don't just get pulled over for no reason. I mean, and everybody can make the being black in America, you know,
Right.
statement, and that's fine. I get it. I'm a black man and I live in America. Trust me, I'm nervous on a regular basis. But he probably didn't get pulled over for just nothing at 7:00 in the morning.
Right.
He was probably swerving or doing something
That
to
got him pulled
cause the
over.
attention of a police officer. So,
Agree.
you know,
And they're like,
also
look at
don't
Tiger
do
Woods
that.
swerving.
Just don't do that.
I agree.
You know,
I
you
agree.
can afford a driver. Hire one.
Or can you? Because listen, that last wife, she says, I'm coming for it all.
Adam, I can afford an Uber.
Yeah. You're right. And you get a coupon too. I'm sure you ain't use it.
I mean, come on.
It's like $5 off the first ride.
Come on.
Or first ride free, actually.
Just get an Uber.
Get an Uber.
A Lyft.
You gotta say Uber, a Lyft, all of that.
Listen,
Does
there's
it-
options. A
Agreed.
taxi cab.
A taxi. If you
A
want to go old
limousine.
school, you're more traditional.
A limousine even.
Agreed.
There's
so,
lots of ways that you can get places without having to drive yourself, is all I'm saying.
I feel you. Agreed. So we'll move on from him. So anyway, that's enough about our little hot topics and what's going on and what y'all lying about today. That's what I call hot topics.
Oh,
what y'all
I like
lying
that.
about today.
I like that. That's
It's
a
good, right?
That's good.
Right, because what y'all lying about on Facebook today. It works out. So
While you introduce this, I'm going to refill my drink.
come through. I'm here for. I'm still good. So he's gonna refill his drink, and it's funny because it's actually a reoccurring thing that happens when people have guests. It's always a moment where we refill our drink. So I think this is like a thing. It works out. So this week, I wanted to talk about friendships, and it was great that Elliott was actually here because I think he'd be really good for this topic because he takes his friendships very seriously. I had to audition for like 6 months. I had to audition.
That's not true.
I couldn't meet certain people. I couldn't go to certain events. There were certain passwords I didn't know for a while. But you know what? I think I'm in now. But this initially started, and Elliott's here, so I hope he's listening. I read this article this week on Huffington Post, and it was about, as a friend, how you should always show up. And showing up means different things to different people. And we're going to talk about that today because I thought the article was really, really good. I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the link of the little info box so you guys can read it. But it's really great article. I shared it and I think it's a good place to start. Okay, so let's just start off by talking, before we get into the whole idea of showing up, let's talk about what friendship actually means to us. Like, what does friendship mean to you, Elliott?
Oh, my word. It's such a heavy question.
I know.
I feel like I'm like on a Miss America pageant.
Yeah! What was all like, what was on Pretty Hurts where he was all like, what is your...
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the question now.
Aspirations. What are your aspirations?
Right.
My aspirations. Whoa.
I don't know. I mean, for me, friendship means a different thing than family. And I think that people like to meld the two. They like to combine the two. And I think that they're two very different things because you choose your friends and you do not choose your family. Mm-hmm. And I think that you can certainly make choices with your family in terms of how close you want to be to them or, what kind of relationship you want to have. However, with friends, you don't even have to know them, but you choose to know them. You choose to get to know them. You choose to spend time with them. And I think it's a different thing. And I think it's just a different bond because it's something that you make a conscious decision to do as opposed to someone who you're just linked to naturally. So for me, friendship is very heavy because I feel like if we have chosen each other to be friends, then we have to take our relationship seriously. We have to support one another and we have to make an effort to understand one another. And that's something that I feel very strongly about. It's something that I make a conscious effort to do. I take pride in my friends. Like I said earlier, I don't take a lot of obvious pride in a lot of things, but my friends are something that I totally take pride in. Like I enjoy introducing my friends to my family because I love my family to see and know like the people that I'm actually hanging out with and people that I'm spending time with, and just to show them that these are the people that I choose. Like, this is if you're ever worried about me out there living my life, I want to show you these are the people I'm surrounded with. I'm good. I promise. I'm good because I chose these people, and I feel like that's a reflection on my decision making. Because you all are excellent people.
It's well, thank you. No, I agree with you on that one, and it's funny because I know Elliott. We have run this story into the ground, but I've never told it to the podcast listeners.
Tell the people.
Well, we have to tell the people.
Tell the people.
So Elliott and I met last year through Raven, a mutual friend, and he and I connected because we both said we didn't want new friends.
It's so true.
We were both all like, no new friends, blah, blah. And then we're like, hey, want to hang out? I think it was a few days later, I hit him up on Facebook and was like, hey, you know, Raven's gonna be moving here. Let's get a head start and just start hanging out.
Right.
And when I tell you, I've seen this dude like at least once a week since then. I think it was one of those things where it was like chemistry there, where I was like, oh yeah, you're cool. Let's hang out. We talked about mutual interests. I talked about being in Atlanta and not really seeing Atlanta. Elliott, he's from Atlanta. And he's like, listen, ain't no way how you gonna live here and just not see things. So started going places and started seeing things, and we just started connecting, and then we really became really, really good friends. And I got to see how serious he took his friendships, because it became this whole thing. Well, you know, I gotta see how you are when you meet this friend. I gotta see how you are when you meet this.
I don't know what he's talking
You
about.
curate very well. It's not a bad thing.
I mean, I do curate. You're right about that. I can't deny it.
It's not a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
first of all,
It's intentional.
This dude had an A-list at his birthday. Like, you couldn't just come. Like,
There was a no guests allowed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like, no, but
it's like I don't even feel any kind of way about it.
You
but
shouldn't
it was
have
just
to.
Like I was having a milestone birthday, and I literally only wanted the people around who I knew and loved and trusted. Like no randoms, no guests, I didn't want anybody I didn't really know and wasn't really friends with.
And if you were there, it was perfect.
It was perfect.
And when you like, it was like literally that weekend was so much fun. It was, I think I counted at I think it was 16. Was it 16?
That sounds like a good
It was
number.
about 16 of us. But the vibe, there was no negative vibe. It was like everybody was intelligent,
those.
which I appreciate. Everybody could think. Wasn't no fuck shit. It was like, oh my God, we're all equally yoked.
Men, women, gay, straight, older, younger, the whole spectrum.
It was so good.
That's what I do.
And like he rented this huge house. And like I remember just going from just room to room and just talking to people. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Everyone just got along. And I was like, I get it. And I'm the same way about friends. And like, so I agree with you. I do believe. Now, you talk about the whole friends and family, they're separate things. I agree on that. But in a sense, my friends have become my family.
Right.
Because I don't know what my actual blood family listens to this show. But my connections are a little different from my family.
Right.
I'm tighter with my friends than my actual blood relatives. And that's because, I mean, I was a mama's boy. And, you know, I was very much at home. My parents had passed on.
Right.
So when they passed on, I was kind of like, well, here I am.
Yeah.
And so that goes into the whole showing up thing. And I want to talk about that. So what is your perspective of showing up when it comes to your friends? Or even family? Like, what does that mean to you when people say show up?
I mean, I think that it's really important for you to be there, especially when things matter. You know, I think that we can all tell the difference between things that matter and things that don't so much. You know what I mean? And I think that you have to be in tune with the people that you're connected with to know what is important to them and what is less important to them. And I'm not saying that you just need to like pay shit that's less important.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that you need to know when shit really is important.
It's more than just birthdays.
Right.
It's more than just like, oh, this promotion dinner. But
Right.
it's serious things too. And,
Exactly.
And actually there comes a time where I think you have to show that you're actually a friend. It's easy to give somebody a title.
Right.
But there's going to come a time you're like, oh shit, this is where I really test out my friendships.
Yeah.
And I thought about, like, once again, that weekend for your birthday. Like, this dude had people, they flew in, they chose to. He didn't demand it. These people chose to, like, from everywhere. They were from Baltimore and Texas.
Baltimore, Texas, Chicago, Detroit. All my California people didn't come.
I'm
But that
from
was
California,
it.
so I was, you know, I was here, but I'll be that spirit.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it was a birthday, you know, a lot of us, we can have acquaintances here,
Right.
And be like, fuck that, I ain't going to that goddamn shit. I want to do that,
Right.
But I thought about that weekend. There were still 16 people in a house having a great time. They showed up to celebrate you because they thought that much of you. You know
Which
what I mean?
like blows my mind because I don't understand why anybody gives a shit.
Well, here's the thing. Elliott's fucking amazing. You guys can't be friends with him because no new friends. I was the last edition.
No one listened to him.
No,
He's lying.
no.
I'm a horrible person.
I was the last edition.
I'm a horrible person.
No, Elliott's dope. Like, Elliott's so dope.
No,
like, oh my
stop
God.
saying that.
He's so dope. So, yeah, no, but like, I think about that. They showed up because it meant a lot to you. You could tell the whole weekend. Like, Elliott's not like an emotional type of person, from what I've gathered. He keeps that shit to himself. But there were a couple times where I was like, "Now, them tear ducts at least swollen." There are a couple times like that. They at least swollen. He ain't gonna show. He's not gonna give you too much. But there were just moments where you could just see the joy in his face. Like, damn, like y'all really just here, doing this for me. And I thought about that. It was great. Everyone showed up.
It really was.
And that was a very positive occasion. And so I want to give an opposing thing of like how I recognize who my friends were. It was when my mom died. Mm-hmm. Because no one knows when their parents are going to pass. No one knows when tragedy is going to strike.
Yeah.
My mom died. It was a surprise. It wasn't prepared. It was just a shock. It was like she had a heart attack. And my friends did not. And first of all, I got to see who my friends were.
Right.
Number one.
Right.
Because when I was still in LA, I was just running around with people. You know what I mean? I had an idea of who my close friends were. But, you also have those people who are kind of just in the wings.
Right.
And you're just like, you're running around.
Yeah.
But a lot of people disappeared. And I get it because a lot of people can't deal with death.
Yeah, people don't always know how to support you. And
Right.
that makes them just withdraw because they don't know what to do.
Exactly. And I understood that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I understood a little bit more was the people who were like, no, I'm going to be here with you.
Right.
And that's why I speak so highly. And you guys have heard these names before. My friends Garrett, Christina, and my friend Rachel. And she's back in LA. And even my cousin Jasmine. They just stayed present from the time I called them that morning. They did not, like, I feel like they had like a schedule that they were talking about, and they were discussing shifts. They did not let me have a moment alone that entire time, and I appreciated it. Like, they literally saved me from myself. Like they took off work. How, like, I was like, just
some real shit.
Imagine what that means, though. Like, you're taking off work for a friend's parent passing. It's not even in your family,
right?
And you're like, you know what? No, I need to be with him. And I remember, like, Christina, she came over. She was the first. And that first day, my mom passed. And, they were there for the initial shock. They were there when they came and took her body from the house. Her and Garrett were by my side. They both had to go back to work, like, previously. Like, we have to go back. We're coming back.
Yeah.
And they literally took shifts. Christina was like, I'm just going to go back and just do this really quick. She came back, and I remember she bought me an Arizona and a honey bun, which were just like, that was like our running. It was a thing between us. I love honey buns. And then, like, we always just drink mango Arizonas. I remember she came back with that honey bun and that.
That's
thing.
what you do.
And
that's the.
And she literally was in my room, and my house is filled with people because you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And I had issues with it because random people show up, and it's just
too much.
It's just too much. So I was in my room with her, and I'm already kind of like trying to like plan and think about things. And I'm just grieving, and we're there watching Girlfriends, and she's just there laying in my bed, just whatever you need, let me know. And I was just like, wow. Like, that was the first thing where I was like, you didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
It was like our friendship was literally put to the test, and I didn't know it was gonna happen. I was like, that was number one. And so she stayed with me, and then I remember the next day, her and Garrett took me out. We ended up going to see, I remember Hunger Games. That's when Hunger Games came out. When they took me out to eat, and they're like, you've been planning all day. That was the day I went to the funeral home. They're like, you've been planning all day. You've been doing this. Okay, let's just get your mind off it a little bit. We're gonna take you out. They took me out. And they did this the entire next week. Garrett, he worked for LA Times, the journalist. He helped me put together the obituary for my mom. Beautiful thing. It was just like beautifully printed. We used like the software they use at the time. It was just, he didn't have to help me do that, And then like I had like, it was just, they did so many things in that time. But when it really hit home was at the actual funeral. I'd been fine. I mean, I cried to myself. Like, it hurt me. Like, my mom, it hurt me so much.
Of course.
But it was at the funeral. There was a moment where, at the cemetery, they were putting her on the wall. She was put in the wall. And I don't know. It was something about when it was lifting and putting her in the wall, and it kind of touched the bottom of the thing. It made the sound. And that sound was so final for me. Mm-hmm. My knees buckled. And I literally had Christina, Garrick, and Rachel around me, and they just held me up. Mm-hmm. And someone took a picture of it.
Wow.
And when they first took the picture of me, I didn't want the picture.
Yeah.
And then I remember asking for it last year, and they sent it to me again. I was like, thank you for keeping this. But at the time, I was like, don't send me anything for my mom's funeral. What's wrong with you? I don't want to see this shit.
Why were you even taking pictures?
Right.
Yeah.
But then I was like, do you still have that picture? Because it meant so much, because they became my family. Yeah. Honestly, in that moment. Mm-hmm. Like, I had 3 people around me who weren't related to me who literally covered me the entire time that I was there. And I just remember that moment. I'll never forget that. Like, they literally just held me up. And I was like, oh my God. And then even after that, like, the next few days, they were like, you good? Like, I stayed with Garrick. And they showed up. Right. And I was like, you know what? And that's why I'm so loyal to them. Mm-hmm. Because that was such a dark moment. Yeah. And even Christina came with me to view my mom. Mm-hmm. That's a bold move. Absolutely. Like, she literally came and met me. I was like, I gotta go view her. Everyone was like, no, I'm not going up there. Everyone was just coward. They just say, I can't do it. Someone had to do it. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna go up there. She's like, I'll meet you there. She met me there, walked in with me. And I was just, and I just remember sitting there like, God, like, you don't have to do this. You know, people say people don't have to be nice to you. Yeah. And so when people go out of their way to do stuff for you, you're like, oh my God, you don't have to do this. Right. And that moment forward, I was like, I would do anything for these people. And it just solidified it for me. Mm-hmm. And that's why I hold them in such a high regard. People are like, how do you have so many best friends? I'm like, because these people were there for me at my darkest moment. Yeah. I got laid off a week after my mom's funeral. Yep. Like, and then my dad died 2 months later, and my grandma died 2 weeks after him. It was 2012 was just dark. And these people were just there. Mm-hmm. And you just think to yourself, like I said, you don't have to be here, but you are. And that's the type of showing up that I'm just like, it beat, like I said, like, I like the fact that it's the opposite, because it's like, it beats I want you to be there for my birthday. Hell yeah, let's turn up. Right. I want you to do this, but that dark shit, like, death is hard. Yeah. Death was hard for me until all that stuff happened. And I'm like, wow, you're just here for the ride. And they're just like, no, we care about you, you know? And that meant a lot to me. And that's why I think showing up is important. And it's important, like, if you really call yourself a friend, that is your role. Right. And if you feel like you can't do certain things, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, you got to go to every funeral or everything like that, but you have to be able to help people through their things, whether it be addictions, whether it be bankruptcy, you know. Yeah, just like whatever dark moment they're having in their life. Right, like, it can't always be a turn up. It's most important to be there in the times that matter like that. Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, sure, the fun times are fun. Yeah. And like, if you're the fun friend, I think that like when you're the fun, because I feel like everybody, like depending on the kind of person you are and the kind of crowd you have, like you have different types of friends. Mm-hmm. And like, I know who my turn up friends are, and I know who my chill friends are and things like that. And so even when you're like the turn up happy times friend, then bring those qualities to my dark time. Yeah. And help lighten it up. It's important. You know, but also know how to moderate it. Mm-hmm. You know, don't try to take me to the club tonight. Right. Exactly. But, you know, do maybe, you know, crack a clean joke that'll make me laugh. Yeah. You know, it takes a level of social awareness. It does. i.e. emotional intelligence 2.0. Plug. I took my test again, by the way, and I got a 98. Very good. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, thanks. So I talk about you, Elliott. People know the name. Why? Because I talked about emotional intelligence. He's the one who bought me the book. And I took the test first, and the score was whatever. It was like a 77 or something like that because of the feedback piece. Right. And once I worked on that, I was able to raise it. And it's funny because the feedback has actually helped me. I checked my comments on I asked for feedback. I had an episode about feedback. Okay. And I checked the comment section about the show, and people had interesting me about the theme song. Like, oh, you know, turn it down a little bit. Sure, did that. You know, then people thought like, oh, well, if you ever want to get a co-host. But it was funny because I mentioned that on the show about the co-host. I got comments last week. No, you don't need no co-host. It's cool the way it is. I was like, well, the people have spoken. Yeah. I'm going to continue doing it the way I'm doing it. But I know that's right. But yeah, so that it does take a level of social awareness and just knowing when and where to do things. Because Lord knows, you know, I'm always the turn up friend or the one who's always cracking jokes because it's who I am. But I also know how to turn it off. I'm not like I work on being social aware. I sense things. I'm always like, this is not a time to do that. I'm not gonna catch you at a moment that's bad. I know how to plan it in there and do that. But it's important. But I think it is so important to show up, and I just agree. Like, if you call yourself someone's friend, be a friend,
right?
And it has nothing.
And it's also, I mean, I look at it like it's kind of like a job. You know what I mean? It's like, and I tell people all the time, especially when they complain about their jobs, you didn't choose. Like, I mean, I'm saying you did choose to do this. You're not a slave,
right?
This job is voluntary,
right?
You chose to accept this job. You chose to do this, so do it. And when you choose to be someone's friend, then you need to act as a friend.
Yeah.
Don't choose to be someone's friend and then just do it when it's convenient for you, because that's not fair.
Yeah.
Especially when your expectations are going to be, you know, the exact opposite. And you're going to expect that person to be there for you whenever you need them, and you're not willing to reciprocate that. Yeah. So it's really important to like understand that you made a choice. You made a choice to be this person's friend. Yeah. And you know, if y'all have to talk about where you are in each other's, you know, lives in order to get that straight and, you know, understand what your expectations are, then do that.
Right.
But it's just important that, like, you understand what you're actually doing, because I just don't think it's something that you take lightly.
I agree completely, and it's not just a matter, like you said, it's not a matter of just good times. It's like, because I mean, it's okay to have acquaintances, like, you know.
Oh, of course, yeah. You don't have to be everybody's closest personal friend.
But if you really are saying you are, make it match. Let your actions show. And then even with lighter stuff, I think another example I had that's a little more lighter. I think about Wabi, my other friend. She had a marathon. She did her first marathon. She had done all these 5Ks, 10Ks. Half marathons, and she was like, I'm doing this full marathon. And at first I didn't really think anything of it. I don't know, she told me that she was training for 18 weeks. I'm like, God damn, she was training for 18 weeks. And then it dawned on me kind of late, and then I think we're sitting, she was at my birthday, and we were sitting there. She's like, oh yeah, my marathon's in like 2 weeks. I was like, wait a minute, where's it gonna be? I was like, I need to be there. This is 26.1 miles. It's a marathon. And it just kind of clicked to me. I was like, I have to be there. And I knew, I planned my entire, I'm like, I think because I was supposed to see, I don't know if I was going to hang out with you or something. I'm like, well, I got to go do this first. Right. And I spent that morning, people would think like, oh, well, that's just it's just a hobby or whatever. I'm like, but it's still a huge event. Yeah. And so me and another mutual friend, Dwayne the Great, yeah, we linked up, and then we figured out the map, and we found a place to meet her. We met her around mile 17, you know, fairly in the middle. And the look on her face was just like, I'm
sure it was encouraging.
Like it energized her. Yeah, she had to hit a place where she was like, okay, my knees are starting to hurt. I'm so over this. And then like, it was just such a great moment. And it was one of those moments where you're like, okay, first of all, I'm glad I was able to find you and make it here, because I would have been disappointed in myself. Because we were worried because traffic, you know, everything's roped off. We're like, shit, like we got to get to her.
She may have already passed the point. Right. We got there.
And we were really doing math. We were doing arithmetic in the car. Like, I'm like, if she's running this fast, we're checking the app because it's an app.
If a train is going 25 miles an hour and is carrying 5 cars, how long will it take it to reach Albuquerque?
We were doing that in the car. We were like, okay, if she going like, she doing this mile, if she hit this at this time, we did that. And then we just started walking. We're like, okay, I hope we didn't pass her. And then we saw her running up, and just seeing her face, it just energized her. And we stayed with her for like a mile and just kind of kept going with it. And then I remember like, she couldn't stop talking about it. She was like, thank you so much. Like, you know, you're there. And we showed up. Yep. It's important. It's important. Like, and just because something doesn't seem heavy to you, because I don't plan on doing a marathon anytime soon. I'm still trying to get to the 5K or the 10K. but at the same time, that was a big thing for her. Yep. And it was important for us to show up, especially me. I could, you know, I call myself her friend. She calls herself my friend, you know, and showing up is so important. And I just think it's a very big tenet in friendship. Yeah. Because that's where you really put action to words. Yeah. It's easy to be like, oh yeah, that's my friend, my best friend, da, da, da. But if you ain't doing shit for them, y'all just cool. Y'all are.
And that's all it is.
That's all it is. Y'all cool. Like, y'all have
You have a nice time
BYOB,
together.
right? Occasional brunch.
Yeah.
But when the going
And
gets
that's it.
tough, nah.
Yeah.
It's
You
like-
need somebody for when the going gets tough.
Yeah, I tell you, you got to know also how to weed these people out too. You have to know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's right for you and sense it a little early. I mean, when you're young, it's easy
Yeah.
to just be friends with anybody. But as you get older, you really start kind of saying, yeah, no, you're not really in my corner. So
Right.
let me let this fade out.
Yeah.
Or we're just not growing together. And, you know, you just let it be. But
I'm proud of my small circle. Like I feel like I know a lot of people, but I feel like my actual circle of friends is like relatively small, and I'm very happy with that. Like I have no issue with it. I don't think I need more people. I don't think I need new people. Like I'm good with the people that I have because it's all. I mean, you know, people. It's a cliche at this point, but you know, quality over quantity.
it's true.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. And I also, like we said, we first met, I'm trying to teach people how to be my friend. I don't want you to learn about what makes me mad and all this. Like, listen, I don't
I have
want.
no interest. No interest.
Just let it be. Just let it be.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to end it. This was a great conversation. You've done very well,
Agreed.
Elliott. Thank
Why,
you for
thank you.
joining us today. Thank you guys for listening to another episode. Remember to subscribe. Remember to comment, share it with your friends. If you have topics or letters or things because they got me doing advice columns now. Listen, I'm here for it, but send those to the
I think I'm gonna do the advice column.
Listen, here for it. So if you
Got
want to send it to
things to
me
say.
or Elliott, you know, send it to the outline topics at gmail.com. Other than that, have a great week, and I will see you all next week or talk to you all next week. Peace out.